Hello and welcome to this edition of Kwani's Official Review. Let's get started. Marshawn Lynch knows how to save money. In 2007, he had just finished a career at the University of California. He was then selected 12th overall in the 2007 draft by the Buffalo Bills. There he signed a 5-year, $19 million contract. A few years later, he was traded to the Seattle Seahawks, where he signed a $31 million contract extension. And now, 10 seasons into his NFL career, he's decided to retire. In February, he literally hung up his cleats, posting the peace out emoji and saying goodbye to the NFL. At 30 years young, he still has a lot of life left ahead of him. So you'd think he's probably out laying on a beach somewhere enjoying all his riches. No. Despite making over $49.7 million in the NFL, in addition to over $5 million in endorsements, he is in Haiti. With Cliff Averill and Stephen Tulloch, they are building schools. Watch this video. In addition to building schools, the three of them have set up mobile medical clinics and, of course, football camps. But think about this. Marshawn Lynch has been commonly criticized for his lack of engagement with media. He's been known to say, "You know why I'm here," or "I'm just here so I don't get fined." "I'm thankful. Thank you for asking," when asked questions by media. But a lot can be taken from his actions speak louder than words motto. He plays well on the field. He's been known to go back to his native Oakland and giving back to the children there in the community. He's not for the show and tell. And even his most recent appearance in Haiti, we can take a lot, not only from his money management and spending wisely, but the fact that everything he does doesn't have to be broadcast. And speaking of media attention, let's focus our eyes on the NBA Eastern Conference Finals. More specifically, the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Detroit Pistons. Now, as of Game 3, the Cavs lead the series 3-0, but Detroit's head coach, Stan Van Gundy, is not having it. After Game 1, there were 2 non-calls that he blames in part to the NBA's officiating of LeBron James. He says that LeBron gets to do what he wants. They will never call an offensive foul on him. As a result, the NBA fined Stan Van Gundy $25,000. Now, $25,000 may not mean that much to him, but it also brings up the concerns of how the NBA deals with the concerns of head coaches and players when it comes to the regulations of the rules in the game. Maybe it could be argued that Stan Van Gundy went through the wrong medium of trying to voice his concerns, but at the same time, is the NBA fining him just to teach him a lesson and say, basically, keep your mouth shut and just go along with what we say? Or are they genuinely looking into his concerns and trying to make sure that the game evolves on a daily basis? The NBA Commissioner Adam Silver said that Stan Van Gundy knew where the thin line was. And yes, they are looking into these concerns. But at the same time, is that really why the Pistons were losing? At the end of the day, it comes down to sportsmanship. Knowing when you need to speak up for something you may feel is not right, but at the same time, working on your part, making sure your team is moving smoothly and everything about your side is in check. And then after that, then we move on to the bigger picture. In 1960, President John F. Kennedy said, "I believe in an America where the separation of church and state is absolute." This means that a Catholic priest would not go to the president and say, "This is how you should run the country." Or parishioners would not go to their local minister and say, "Who do you think I should vote for?" This also means that the states would not be giving funds to churches in their schools, but it also means that state laws would not be influenced by church laws. Separation of church and state. But what about the separation of state in sports? More recently in North Carolina, a law was created that bars local governments from protecting the rights of gay and transgender people. Now, in the city of Charlotte alone, there is a renovation project right now that costs over $27.5 million, and those funds could be influenced by this law. The Hornets and the Hurricanes issued statements saying that they do not condone any kind of discrimination, especially for the sake of their fans. They believe in equality. The NBA issued a quote, which I'll read to you, says, "The NBA is dedicated to creating an inclusive environment for all who attend our games and events. They say, we are deeply concerned that this discriminatory law runs counter to our guiding principles of equality and mutual respect, and do not yet know what impact it will have on our ability to successfully host the 2017 All-Star Game in Charlotte." Now that game, in addition to many other events, could really bring up the revenue in Charlotte and in the state of North Carolina, but if that law is not reevaluated, people may decide to just not go to Charlotte. It all comes down to respect. We may not have the same beliefs as other people. We may have different lifestyles. But at the end of the day, when we are creating laws that are marginalizing certain groups of people, that's when we really need to take a step back and evaluate why these laws are being created and how we are going to continue to better our communities and not tear each other down. That's all for this edition of Kwani's Official Review. Be sure to engage in discussion on social media. Mention me on Twitter, find me on Facebook. And remember that sports are fun, but they can also have a big impact on society and the way we think about things. Thank you for watching.